Shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, shalom, man. It's another Think About It Thursday. Got your brothers on the screen, man. Coming to give y'all another lesson. It's okay to be gentle, right? If you read that kind of fast, you might read it's okay to be a Gentile. That's not what it says. It says it's okay to be gentle, right? Think about it Thursday. Got a video I'm gonna play for y'all, and then we're gonna break it down with some scriptures on how this video not only applies to women, but applies to the nation, right? We did a video a while ago about Proverbs 31, how Proverbs 31 is not only applied to women, but it applies to the nation because Israel is prepared as a bride, right? Israel is seen as a woman, right? So the nation can benefit for our community to act accordingly, right? To pull up this video real quick. And y'all know me, man. It's an Instagram video. I always find the gems on Instagram. Bear with me. Let me add it to the stage. Go to a presentation type of view. Well, actually, might cut it off. No, that should be straight. All right. And if you follow me, man, I'll put this on my story. Right. It says what happens when you hold women accountable. Right. So, like I said, applies to the nation. What happens when you hold the nation accountable? Because the nation can benefit from this advice. But before I go any further, we want to give all glory, honor, and praise to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, through His Son, who He sent as an instrument of salvation for the nation, and that nation is Israel. Right? In case I don't say it at the end of this video, if you're not helping to gather, right, you're scattering. Right? If you're not gathering, you're scattering. Talking about the flock, that is, right? It doesn't matter how big or small you are, if you're in an organization or if you're in a body or if you're in a church, as long as you're doing the work of the Lord, right? Hey, you're helping to gather His people for the day of His return, right? So we do all this stuff with the power of the Most High God that gives us breath in our body. So without further ado, we're going to play this video and get into the lesson. It's okay to be gentle.
What happens when you hold women accountable?
You see, you are a provocative victim. You provoke stuff, and then when you start being held accountable for it, then you start twisting and turning and making the other person wrong. You just sat here and told your son, we ain't got a needle in his arm, who I'm assuming pays his own rent. He's married to a registered nurse. He's got 3 baby boys. And you just sat here in his face and said, I don't respect him as a man. Mm-hmm. And you don't think to consider what that does to his heart, to his soul, to his spirit.
I'm sure that's hurtful.
And you okay with that?
And it's hurtful for the things that he said.
But there you go. You're doing it. You're doing it right now. You're doing it right now. I'm holding you accountable and you spinning. You're spinning your web. You're trying to get away. You're trying to get away. Tell me, just here's the question. Just answer it. We'll get back to that other stuff later. Tell me.
Forgive me. I respect him. He's a wonderful man.
Do you understand that your mouth, your voice, your words are connected to the coils in his heart, to the valves in his heart? He can't help but love you. And every time you dishonor that love, you chip a piece of it, chip a piece of it. This is why in our culture as Black people, when the boys turn a certain age, the men come and get him and take him away from the mother because she can emotionally manipulate him. But since we don't live in our culture no more, we say what we want to say, do what we want to say. We tear our men down and then wonder why they don't make good husbands and fathers. Mothers destroy sons. His mother can speak to him in certain ways that destroy him in ways that can never be repaired.
Right. That's good stuff, right? So I let you guys watch that, man, without any interruption.
What happened?
Right? Because I'm so kind, and I know how these videos can get sometimes, where you just want to watch it and the person won't shut up. So I let y'all watch it without interruption. But this time, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna stop it periodically just to make the parallel clear of what I mean by the whole nation needs to be held accountable, not just this woman, right? Right. So I'm gonna press play and then I'm gonna break it down.
You hold women accountable.
You see, you are a provocative victim. You provoke stuff. And then when you start being held accountable for it, then you start twisting and turning and making the other person wrong. You just
right. So when comparing our nation, man, especially when we come into the knowledge of this truth, we get very provocative, right? A lot of times when we come into this truth, we're on fire. And a lot of times we give a lot of loaded questions to people just to prove them wrong, or just to cut them up, or to prove that we know more about the Bible than them, or we provoke them. Even we provoke them to sin, right? We know that they're gonna do something if we say a certain thing, right? We know that they're gonna stand bold on the wickedness that they're living in. If we bring it to their attention, and we bring it to their attention anyway, just to say that they're gonna be destroyed or they're not gonna make it to the kingdom, right? A lot of times we're provocative in a wrong way, right? When it comes to our people in this nation, right? And not only is this woman provocative, the nation is provocative in the wrong way, right?
and told your son, we ain't got a needle in his arm, who I'm assuming pays his own rent. He's married to a registered nurse.
Right. So she said he's not on drugs. He's married, right, to a good woman, right? Got some kids, right? He's out of the street. So paralleling that again, a lot of times we have family members, we have husbands, we have wives, we have kids, we have cousins, we have friends, classmates that uh we treat terribly just because they're not in the truth, right? And I'm saying that because a lot of times they're not far gone. If they're okay, if they're not super wicked, right? We don't have to be down their throat 24/7, right? We understand that. Hey, some of us when we first heard the truth, it didn't make sense at first. Some of us we questioned it at first. I know I did, right? I know it took me about a year before I started accepting it and studying for myself. So just like how her son is, a upstanding young man, and he could be doing a lot worse. The people that are in our lives, man, they could be doing a lot worse. They could be in all matter of folly and madness, right? But we got to be honest with ourselves and be like, they're not that far off. Let me not treat them like they have no chance right now, right? It's different when somebody has no chance, right? But hey, man, the Most High God, He could change a prostitute into a prayer warrior. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, who are we to judge in the first place, right? All going into this lesson, it's okay to be gentle because we don't know the end from the beginning, right?
He's got 3 baby boys, and you just sat here in his face and said, I don't respect him as a man. Mm-hmm. And you don't think to consider what that does to his heart, to his soul, to his spirit.
Right. And so I want to say this. A lot of times we get in these arguments, especially brothers that be on the street corners, sisters that be arguing and debating on social media accounts. A lot of times we come into this truth, man. We quick to call people out their names and get disrespectful and hit people with low blows, right? And not do things in a respectful manner, right? And so we can't be shocked at how people respond to us. We can't be shocked at people, shunning away from us. You know what I'm saying, in that aspect. Now we understand that the word is going to cause division, but that don't mean that we need to cause division, right? And we're going to go over some scriptures today that show you how we're supposed to act. We're not supposed to be the ones causing this division. The spirit itself is going to cause division, whether the truth come out. You know what I'm saying? Those people you're going to know there's nothing you could do, right? But a lot of times some of this stuff can be prevented if we just stop with the disrespect.
Sure, that's hurtful.
And you okay with that?
And it's hurtful for the things that he said.
There you go. You're doing it. You're doing it.
Right? Now, hear what she's about to say.
You're doing it right now. I'm holding you accountable and you're spinning your web.
Right? Holding her accountable, meaning what, man? To whom much is given, much is required. We know that they're going to say some off stuff to us, right? I'm sure the brother on the screen knows we go downtown, we talk to random people that's not in their word like that. We know what they coming with. We know that they're going to try to charge us. We know that they're going to say some disrespectful stuff to or we know that they're going to be unfair in the conversation towards us. Right? Even when you're dealing with family members and friends, right? When you're dealing with spouses, you know that they're not going to be fair. You know they're going to be kind of disrespectful towards you, right? But we got to be held accountable as a nation that's in the knowledge of the truth to not reciprocate the energy that they give to us, right? We can't act like darkness if we're supposed to be the light. Laugh it off, shrug it off. Say, okay, I understand. I'm sorry you feel that way, right? Even if you don't mean it, say it to them, right? Because if you can control your mouth, you can control a church. We're going to get into that later, right? But let's keep playing.
Get away. You're trying to get away. Tell me. Just here's the question. Just answer it. We'll get back to that other stuff later. Tell me.
Forgive me. I respect him. He's a wonderful man.
Do you understand that your mouth, your voice, your words are connected to the coils in his heart, to the valves in his heart? He can't help but love you.
Right? So right there, I want to say, man, we're a nation, man. I know what the media portrays, and I know how easy it is because it is a curse for us to have an eye evil towards our brothers and our sisters and our wives and our kids. But to be honest with you, man, our nation, we love each other. You know what I'm saying? If there was any opportunity for us to let our guards down around each other and be kind, and every day be a cookout, and every day be a Sunday service, you know, we would love that emotionally. Our people crave that, but it's not like that because we're not holding each other accountable, and we're so disrespectful, and we're so provocative, right? Now, what she said to her was, you know, your words hit to the very core, the very heart of this man, right? And that's very true towards mothers out there that have children, right? What you say to your daughter, what you say to your son, all that stuff is gonna make them into the adult that they need to be. So it is important for mothers to act that way. As a Proverbs 31 woman, it's important for you to speak life into your kids, right? There's certain things that my mom has told me when I was a little kid that stuck with me till I was an adult, that helped me navigate through life, whether they be true or not, right? One of them could be my mom told me that, you know, me and my brother had very likable spirits on us, so people were gonna cling to us. She told us that at a very young age. Whether that was true or not, just her telling that instilled that into the core. And, you know, I moved through life making a lot of friends, right? And I always told myself whenever I was about to get out of line or get rude or whatever, or if I needed to apologize, I always told myself I need to be likable because I have a likable spirit. And I always did the likable thing to do. And I still do it to this day. And sometimes it's a downfall, but nonetheless, what I'm saying is words can impact people's life. Whether they be true at that moment or not, you can impact somebody's life with your words. So it's not just true for mothers, right? It's a good thing. It's some good wisdom for mothers, but it's also true for each and every one of us in the nation.
And every time you dishonor that love, you chip a piece of it. This is why in our culture as Black people, when the boys turn a certain age, the men come and get him and take him away from the mother because she can emotionally manipulate him.
Right? And so I want to break this down, right? This is why at a certain point, people want to disassociate themselves from us because we attack them with words, and we use the Bible to do so. So now we make them feel like a terrible person to God, right? And we make them feel like they're lost without hope when the gospel was to give them hope, right? And what does that do? It tears them away further and further away from us, right? And so in this analogy, she said the man comes and takes the child away because the mom can emotionally influence him in the wrong direction, right? But here we see Satan can come and take your family member, your brother, your sister, your friend, can take them away from you not planting the right seed in them because of the way you talk to them, right?
But since we don't live in our culture no more, we say what we want to say, do what we want to say. We tear our men down, and then
we tear our people down, man. We say what we want to say. Nobody can guard their mouth, especially when we talking about the people in the truth. It's a trend. Nobody can guard their mouth. Not on social media platforms, not in person. Nobody know how to have a real conversation. Nobody know how to be peaceable, right? And she got it right on the head. We lost our culture, right? What does Deuteronomy 28:54 say? It says, we was once tender and delicate. We ain't tender and delicate no more.
Why they don't make good husbands and fathers. Mothers destroy sons. His mother can speak to him in certain ways that destroy him in ways that can never be repaired.
Right. And I'll say this again, man, that is true for mothers, man. And it's also true for the nation. We can build people up. We can convert people. We can bring people into this faith. We can plant seeds, right? We have the power to do all those things. Right. So let's get into these scriptures, man. Let's get into these scriptures. Right. The first scripture we got right here, 2 Corinthians 2:7. Right.
2 Corinthians chapter 7 and verse 2.
Salakia. 2 Corinthians chapter 7 and verse 2.
Receive us. We have wronged no man. We have corrupted no man. We have defrauded no man.
Right. So that should be your slogan, man. You want to be received. To be received, you got to be gentle, right? You're not going to let a lion into your house because you know lions aren't gentle, right? But if you open your front door and you see a little puppy right there, somebody left a puppy on your front steps, you might take that puppy inside, especially if it's raining or it's cold, right? You might wrap it up in a blanket, put it in a box, put it in front of your fireplace because it's gentle, right? So to be received, you got to be gentle, right? That's one of the master keys in edifying and teaching and waking up your people is being gentle. Because you want to be received. It says, receive us, right? A lot of us, we walk around like we don't want to be received, right? There's some congregations and camps out there and churches that say that they don't want to be received. They say they just here to preach the downfall of this place and to tell the 2/3 that where they're going, right? They've said that out their own mouth. They don't want to be received, right? But right here is telling us we want to be received, right? It says we have wronged no man. How many of us can say we've wronged no man? That's something that we should be saying, that we've wronged no man. It says we have corrupted no man. How many of us can say that we didn't teach the wrong doctrine to somebody? Or how many of us can say that if we did teach the wrong doctrine to somebody, we came and cleared it up, right? We have corrupted no man, right? We have defrauded no man. That means like we dealt like we were supposed to with each man, each woman. We ain't scam nobody on social media, asking for money because I'm lazy and make a GoFundMe accounts and all that. We ain't do none of that. We ain't defraud no man, right? We ain't tell somebody that we was somebody that was reincarnated so that they can give us money and pay our rent. We ain't defraud no man. And I'm saying this stuff because it's stuff that actually happens in the nation that we have seen and dealt with our own eyes, right? We have defrauded no man. I mean, come on now. This is how you be gentle, right? It says, go ahead and read verse 3.
Come, I speak not this to condemn you, for I have said before that ye are in our hearts to die and live with you.
Right? When we speak to somebody, we shouldn't be wanting to condemn them to the lake of fire. Right? It's one thing to warn somebody, but it's another to condemn them to the lake of fire. We should not want to do that, right? We should have a heart towards our people, right? Let's go here real quick. Job 6:25. This used to be one of my favorite precepts, man. Job 6:25. This used to be one of my favorite precepts. Read this real quick.
Job 6:25. How forcible are right words, but what doth your arguing reprove?
Right, a lot of us, we get into arguments with our loved ones, with our people that we was friends with in the world, and it says how forcible are right words. You could be right all the day long, but if you can't find a way to get the other party to believe that you're right, it's no point. There's no point of being right. You're just forcing right words. It says, what does your arguing do at that point? Right? What is it? Does it make the situation better, or does it make the situation worse when you argue and they're not understanding your right words? Right?
Right.
It's going to
Because a
answer.
lot of times,
Go ahead.
because a lot of times arguments, man, they lead to people sticking to their guns, and the conversation really isn't even fruitful or honest. Right? You get to arguing, and nothing's being built. Right? Nothing's being sharpened. People tend to reject knowledge and information in arguments, right? There's a difference between an argumentative spirit and a debate spirit, right? A lot of people have contorted the two and made them one and the same. But, the Bible talks about debating, the Bible talks about reasoning. I think what people are mistaken is a spirit of an argumentative spirit. That's the spirit that people are mistaking the debate spirit for, right? I think a lot of people got to get out of that mindset, and it's hard to do because it's deeply embedded in a lot of people to the point where that's the only way they know how to converse with people, and that's the wrong way, right? Because how forcible are right words, to speak the right words, even if they might be, they might seem a little too nice for you, right? But deep down inside, that's a better way of saying it, right? The Bible talks about being seasoned in our speech. So it's like sometimes you got to grow up and pick the right way, even though you don't want to go that way, right? Even though you want to curse somebody out, sometimes maybe it's time for you to humble down and give it to them the way that they can receive it. I guarantee you 9 times out of 10, you're going to feel that much better after the conversation, right? Even though you think you're going to feel better by cursing them out, right?
Right, man. Like the brother said, it's okay to debate, right? To debate is just to reason with somebody, right? Who can bring up the most true points, right? On a subject title, right? But what we've seen nowadays is the debates get very disrespectful on both ends of the spectrum, right? And like I said, we have to hold ourselves accountable, right? We can't point the finger and say, oh, because so-and-so said this to me, I'm going to say this to them. They said this though, so if they want to go there, I can. No, we want to be received. We want to be gentle, right? Let's read verse 26.
Verse 26. Do ye imagine to reprove words in the speeches of one that is desperate, which are as the wind?
Right. Do you imagine to reprove words? Right? Because all it's saying is, if you're just forcing these principles on people that don't understand it and their right words, and you're arguing, it might as well be like the wind. It's going to come and go. Nobody's going to retain it, right? You might imagine that you're reproving somebody, but you're not doing anything. It's like the wind, right? Verse 27 is the point.
Yea, ye overwhelm the fatherless, and ye dig a pit for your friend.
Right. The fatherless are the people that are without God, or without the knowledge of God, or without the knowledge of the truth. That's the fatherless, right? Because God is our Father. And it says, you overwhelm them. You're giving them too much. And on top of you giving them too much, you're belittling, you're calling them out their name, you're condemning or damning them to hell. You're giving them no hope, right? So what are you doing at that point? You're causing them to run back into the world, keep doing their sin, be proud of their sin, just to prove you wrong. And coincidentally, you dig a pit for your friend. What's a pit? A grave. You dig a grave for your friend because they run into sin because you pushed them that way, all because you was not gentle.
Right now
You
they're sticking to their guns for
right,
something that's wrong, and they know it's wrong, just so they can oppose you. Right? We talk about it all the time. This word, like the brother had already said, is enough already to convict somebody. Right? So when you overwhelm somebody, man, that looks like you just doing the most, going overboard. We talk about it all the time. Our job is to go out there and to pull that chair from under people that they've been so comfortably sitting on, right? But you have to replace it with a pillow, right? You have to replace it with something soft. And At the end of the day, we say it all the time, but you get more honey with bees. I mean, you get more honey, you get
get
more
more
bees with
views,
honey.
bro.
Come.
Come on, man. Read this real quick.
Galatians 4:16. Am I therefore become your enemy because I tell you the truth?
Right. So, like the brother said, man, the truth is already gonna make people our enemy. It's already gonna offend people enough. We don't need to add to it. We actually supposed to, be skilled in our words and our attitudes and our emotions to make it not offend our enemies because it's gonna do it regardless. Right. But a lot of times what we do is we compound on the truth. The truth to your ears is sweet like honey, but to somebody that's in sin, it's like sharp knives. It's cutting them, right? And I understand to be a skillful teacher or to be a skillful person to convert somebody, you got to understand that it doesn't feel good when somebody hears what you're saying. So you have to be good enough to dress it up so that it doesn't look like it's a knife, right? You got to make them think that it's a pillow, right? And if they get cut by that pillow, they just got to be like, dang, what's happening? And they're a little confounded and they got to get to the bottom of it themselves. And next thing you know, they converted. So, yeah, man, we got to be gentle, man. We got to be gentle and not offend our brothers and our sisters in this nation. James chapter 3 and verse 2. Right? James does a good job of teaching us uh, how we should conduct ourselves in our nation.
James chapter 3 and verse 2.
Salakia.
For in many things we offend all. If any man offend not in word, the same is a perfect man, and able also to bridle the whole body.
Right? The whole body is talking about the nation, it's talking about the church, it's talking about whatever you may be in leadership over, right? If in many things we can offend somebody by the way we look at them, right? We can offend somebody by body language. We could offend somebody by something that we did on accident. And many things we offend, right? But if any man offend not in word, if you can guard your mouth, you can offend in many things. But if you cannot offend anybody with your mouth and with the words and the things that you say, that makes you a perfect man, according to James, right? That makes you a perfect man, right? Why? Because you can bridle the body. You can lead a church, right? When you think about even when you was back in the world, right? You had coaches, right? You had pastors back in the world. You had teachers and principals, right? You had leaders in the world, right? Captains of the army and officers and things of that nature, right? The best one out of all of those people were people that were good and sweet with their words that can make the people underneath them feel like they can do a task, feel like they were loved on, feel like they were thought about, right? The people that can encourage with their mouth, even when you watch some of these old time war movies, they give these long speeches to be ready to have thousands of people ready to die behind you because they believe in you. It's because you're skilled in bridling your mouth, right? Um, let's go to James 3. James 3 is a good chapter for y'all to read. I just want to hit on some high points. I wanted to hit on verse 2 and I wanted to hit on verse 17. Lakia. James 3 and 17.
James 3:17. But the wisdom that is from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, and easy to be entreated, full of mercy and good fruits, without partiality and without hypocrisy.
Right? Great. You know what I'm saying? All this wisdom from above is how we should be acting, right? How many of you can say that you're peaceable since you came in the truth? Or are you confrontational? Right? How many of you can say that you're gentle since you came into the truth? Right? Or are you aggressive? How many of you can say that you're easy to be entreated? Right? Meaning you're easy to get along with. How many of y'all can say that since y'all came into the knowledge of the truth? Right? Are you full of mercy or are you full of wrath? Right? Do you give people second chances? Do you have long suffering with people, knowing it's not gonna be cold turkey and switch like that as soon as you say it? You know, a lot of us, our problem is we think that we're good with our words. So we think if somebody can't get it the way we said it, then they're never gonna get it. Right? We think that we're good with our words. So when we we feel disrespected when somebody can't understand what we're telling them because we think that we're putting it on a silver platter, or as everybody says, making it plain upon tables, right? But you may have to long suffer and keep finding ways to try to get them to understand it and jump out of what you think it sounds good, right?
Or get this, be confident enough that you can tag somebody else in, right? If they're not really receiving it from you, be confident enough that you can tag somebody else in. Because what did Paul say? He said, Paul or Apollos, whichever one. Paul planteth, Apollos watereth, but it's God that gives the increase, man. Don't feel afraid to phone a friend or tag somebody in. At the end of the day, we were talking about this last Sabbath. It's not our gospel to give. This is the Most High's gospel. You know what I'm saying? So you don't have that spirit of, man, if I can't give it to you, nobody else can, right? If I can't give it to you, man, you're just gonna be destroyed. If you can't understand you can't understand me.
You can go up the street, brother. You can go up the street, sis. Well, shit. Well, you just never gonna get it then. No, find a brother or sister that, me. I send strangers to people, right? I pick up on their spirit and I see, and all the brothers and sisters that I know in this truth, I see whose spirit they match the best, and I send them to them people because it's not about me. It's not about what I say. It's about that person understanding it. It's about that person connecting with something. Somebody else's spirit might connect with them better than me, right? So what the brothers, the Denal said is head on. But a lot of that comes with us not taking accountability, and we keep pride in our hearts, and we think that God only dealing with us, and we want our fruits to show, and we want to say that we brought this person in. But like the brother said, Paul said, "Hey, I wish I didn't baptize none of y'all." Right? I'm glad I've only baptized the house of Stephanus, right? And nobody can say that they've been baptized by me, because that's not what matters, right? It says in good fruits without partiality. How many of y'all can say that y'all have been non-partial since y'all came into the truth? That you treat everybody the same. How many of y'all can say that? Right? Without hypocrisy, right? How many of y'all can say that you got on somebody super hard about pork and you kept every Sabbath day to the T? How many of y'all can say that y'all haven't been hypocrites since y'all came into this truth?
Right, man. How many of y'all, when it comes to a random brother on the street that don't wear fringes, you going 10 times hard and you cursing them out? But the moment you see your favorite elder not wearing fringes, right, you wanna act all soft and ask him, why aren't you wearing fringes? Is there a doctrine behind that? Or, or not even bring it up at all, knowing that you just cursed out a man for not wearing it, right?
Right.
That's being partial, man.
Right. How many times have y'all turned a blind eye to somebody that didn't have fringes on, right, for the sake of teaching him some more? How many times have y'all turned a blind eye to somebody that was in sin, right? Just like y'all turn a blind eye to brothers and sisters that's in the truth, right? For the sake of a conversation, because the conversation might get somewhere, right? This is what it means by reasoning in the synagogue. When Christ went in and reasoned in the synagogue with the Greeks and with the Jews. He understood that some people wasn't sin in there. He understood that. But did you think he was just pointing it out? No, if they came for him, right? Okay, if they came for Christ, you know, he might point out something that they're doing wrong, just to point out that they're hypocrites. But he in there trying to get them the truth. He trying to get them to convert. He trying to get them to believe. Right? Are you doing that? Are you letting little tiny things blind you from the main goal? Because flesh and blood can't enter into the kingdom. I'm not saying the commandments don't matter. What I'm saying is at that time, they got to get it first before they start keeping commandments. Right? Let's read this, James 1:26.
The book of James, chapter 1 and verse 26. If any man among you seem to be religious and bridleth not his tongue, but deceiveth his own heart, this man's religion is vain.
Right. If you seem to be religious, right? You seem to keep the holy days and you're always posting pictures and gatherings and you love your fringes. You seem to be religious, but you can't control your tongue, right? You're deceiving yourself, brother, sister. You deceive yourself. All that stuff could look good on the outward side, but if you can't control your tongue, that means you can't control your heart, because your heart is what controlling your tongue, right? This man's religion is vain. You're doing this for no reason, bro, because you're scaring people away. What did the Lord say about if you offend one of the little ones, right? You might as well cast a rock on your neck and cast it into the sea and drown yourself, right? It's in vain. Right, let's get to the next verse.
Verse 27. Pure religion and undefiled before God and the Father is this, to visit the fatherless and widows in their affliction, and to keep himself unspotted from the world.
Right. This is pure religion, man. Are you unspotted from the world, bro? Can people actually be like, yeah, I ain't gonna lie, they religion is a little extreme, but you know, Azrael, he down to earth. He good people though, regardless of his religion, his belief. You know, he good people though. He believe he a little weird. He believe in the Bible in a little weird way, but sometimes it be making sense. But he good people though. Are you unspotted from the world, or do people think that you're aggressive, manipulative? Can people make those accusations about you? Right? Now, we understand that the truth hurts. So it's gonna be people that lie and say that you're manipulative and that you're condescending and narcissistic. There's gonna be people that say that's not really listening to that it's just gonna throw that shade on you. But you don't need to add on to that, right? There should still be a group of people in the world that think that you're down to earth and good people and reliable and trustworthy and honest, right? It should still be that way. You should be unspotted from the world, right? So that way, when they do persecute you, you are blameless. You're not blameless if you're not unspotted from the world, bro, right? And also being unspotted from the world means there's no worldly tendencies in you. If you're acting just like your opposition, you're acting just like the people you're trying to convert, you're spotted just like them, right? Where do I want to go next? All right. So let's get to 1 Thessalonians 2. We're going to start at verse 7. All right. This ain't going to be a long video. We'll be like 38 minutes in. Right. Let's read this real quick. It's like it. 1 Thessalonians 2 and verse 7.
Come, but we were gentle among you, even as a nurse cherishes her children.
Right? Hey, that word gentle again. You know, the thing about it is it says like a nurse cherisheth her children. If you ever been to the hospital, when a kid goes to the hospital, they're frightened, they're scared, especially when they see them needles. That PICU nurse, right? Pediatric nurse, guess what? She got to be very, very gentle. She got to make them think that nothing's going to hurt. She got to make them think that they're having fun. Are you like that? When you give the word of God, are you like that? That's how we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be gentle among the people that we want to convert, right? Are you like that with your husband that you're trying to convert? that's in the world still? Are you like that with your wife that's in the world still? Are you like that with your friends, right? Your ex classmates, your ex teammates, your ex frat brothers, sorority sisters. Are you that gentle, right? Because guess what? The truth hurts. So the truth is like that needle in the doctor's office. You are supposed to be the messenger of God. You're supposed to be his disciple, his apostle, right? His ambassador. You're supposed to dress it up so nice that they don't see that slash coming, right? What's that slash? Oh, I gotta give up Christmas. They don't see that slash coming. So when it does come, they're prepared, and they don't cry that bad, right? They don't see that. Oh, you gotta give up pork. They don't see that slash coming. Oh, you can't do nothing on the seventh day. That they don't see that slash coming. You got to dress it up like that nurse does to the children. Right? Let's read verse 8.
Verse 8, so being affectionately desirous of you, we were willing to have imparted unto you not the gospel of God only, but also our own souls, because ye were dear unto us.
Right? Hey, you gotta dress up your talks. You see this is a beautiful letter, right? We affectionately are desiring of you, right? We want you to be on our side. How many of us, when we go out there, we desire people to be on our side, right? We could do a little better job. The hopeful we can do a little better job of, not begging, but we can do a better job of getting people to want to be on our side, teaching the people, right? We do a good job of teaching the people and wowing people and raising the eyebrow and raising the question and piquing people's interest, but we should want to have them on our side, right? We desire that, right? We were willing to have imparted unto you not the gospel of God only, not only the truth, but also we want to add our own souls to you. We want to be able to live and die for you. We want to be able to call you friend, brother, sister. We want to invite you to our gatherings. We want to do all those things. Not only do we want to wake you up to the truth, we want to be family. How many of y'all can say that? Let's go to verse 9.
Verse number 9, for ye remember, brethren, our labor and travail, for laboring night and day, because we would not be chargeable unto any of you. We preached unto you the gospel of God.
Right? We got to be long suffering night and day. We got to labor and travail, right? No matter the season, no matter the weather. Right, let's keep going. Verse 10.
Verse number 10, ye are witnesses in God also, how holily and justly and unblameably we behaved ourselves among you that believe.
Right? So we got to be gentle with our people. And when you're gentle with your people, you can be unblameable, right? You can be just and you can be holy. And they can be witnesses that you are all three of those things to them when you are gentle, right? That's the last precept I got. You got any precepts?
I'll just paraphrase, man. This is literally what Christ said when he said, to turn the other cheek, right? They slap you on one or they strike you on one to turn the other cheek. And all he was trying to say in that is, like he was saying, like Brother Azrael was saying in the beginning of the video, we know what we're going to be faced with when we have these conversations. We know it's going to be a tough conversation, especially if it's going to be a conversation for the first time for this person, right? But their nastiness, their reproach, their resistance doesn't give you the permission to meet them with resistance, right? Their nastiness doesn't give you the permission to meet them with nastiness. Their the reproach doesn't give you the permission to meet them with reproach, right? It's often easier to take them blows because we know they'll come to nothing, and that what we have won't be confounded, right? It's like when you're dealing with a little kid, right? You know they're gonna act up and cry and all that stuff when you tell them no. They might even try to hit you, but ultimately we know it's not going to hurt. Ultimately, we know what's best And ultimately, we know at the end of the night, when you have that conversation with that little kid, that you're gonna win the conversation. They're gonna do what you want them to do, and that's one thing we gotta know. What this truth is, when He gave us His word that said it would never be confounded nor what's the word? Other word, gainsayed against. Right? We can take those blows early because we know at the end of the conversation, man, we have everything that we need to not lose a conversation, right? Not to make it seem like a match or anything, but it just is what it is. We've never been in a conversation where at the end of it we didn't feel like we weren't pushing the right things, right? We were never been in a conversation where we just strictly got confounded or gainsayed and somebody pulled our card, right? And I want to just make notice that the only time you see brothers in this truth get confounded or gainsayed is when they're being prideful, right? When they don't have the right spirit about them. They can't call the right scriptures to mind, right? They don't know how to let things go. They might misspeak, and when they misspeak, they don't
Own
they
up.
they stick to their guns. They don't own up to it, right? But if you're always operating in the right spirit, even if you misspeak, there's still room to be made up. And I believe that this word is not gainsayed or confoundable. And when you come with the right spirit, couple that all together, it lets you know that you're in the right thing, right? And you'll come out with better outcomes. But this
Yeah,
is
man.
Matthew 5:39. I'll just read it just because it says, "But I say unto you that you resist not evil, but whosoever shall smite thee on the right cheek, turn to him the other also." Right? I mean, again, right? Be harmless as a dove. Gentle as a what's it say?
Wise as a
Harmless as a dove. You said what? Wise as a serpent. Con. Wise as a serpent, gentle
serpent.
as
I don't
harmless
think
as a dove.
I don't think people understand what it means to turn the other cheek, man. Some people think turn the other cheek means to just leave it alone. But turning the other cheek really means to, tell them, hey, hit me on the other side. You know what I'm saying? Like the brother said in his example with the kid. If a kid hits you and you know it's not gonna hurt and you playing with a kid, right? They hit you on this side, you be like, hit me on the other side. Come on. Right? That's
Get
really
it
what
all out.
right. Get it all out. That's really what turn the other cheek mean. It really takes a lot of discipline and a lot of pride to turn the other cheek because you literally opening yourself up for assault.
Y'all ever seen a movie or a TV show where somebody's confronting somebody and they tell them something that they don't want to hear, like somebody might have cheated on them, you might have cheated on somebody, you're confessing to it, somebody might have died or something, and the person that you're telling this bad information to, they just hitting you in the chest, and they start bawling, crying, and whatnot, right? Um, it's one of those things where when you give somebody this truth, that's it. That's what's happening. You're giving them information that's convicting them, and you're kind of just telling them, "Go ahead and hit me. Get it all out, so we can move on to something better. So I can give you a release. So I can slide that pillow underneath you from the chair that I just snatched from under you, right? And that's what a lot of us have to be able to do, and it comes with maturity and self security, really. I think a lot of people that go out and teach, and this is hard for them to do, is because they're not secure in themselves. They're worried about what other people think and all these other factors. But if you're really just trying to win a soul, man, being humble is the best way to do it, right? Being a people person, being practical, down to earth, meeting people where they are. That sounds cliche, but come on, man, I yield.
Come on, man. And it's all a part of being gentle, man. When you're gentle, only good things come. Uh, like the brother said, man, the word is not gainsayed. So, for example, uh, turning the other cheek in a conversation could be like this, right? The other day we was talking, and it was a man, and he was upset that we were winning the conversation, and he said, "You guys are being unfair. You guys are being disrespectful. You won't let us talk." And he said that knowing that he was lying, right? The spirit in him probably didn't know he was lying, but it made himself lie, meaning in the conversation we was going back and forth one for one. Nobody was interrupting or anything, but when he felt like he was losing the conversation, He wasn't even in the conversation. Matter of fact, he was interjecting in the conversation we had with somebody else. He said that you guys are being disrespectful. You know what we said? You right. You got it. Go ahead, finish what you're going to say. We didn't even get to finish what we were going to say, but we let him finish. And you know, when you do that, the Most High will have them stumble on their own words to where you can confound them even more, right? And so that's what it means to put your pride aside. And actually, when you're out there trying to convert souls, man, it's not about how you feel. It's about how they feel. You're supposed to make them feel good, right? Because this word gonna make them feel bad. So you are supposed to make them feel good. So when they hear this bad word, they understand why it feels bad. They understand it's their flesh that making them feel bad, because they're gonna look at you and be like, well, he doesn't see it as a bad thing. Why do I see it as a bad thing? And then, you know, they put two and two together, do their own research, start diving deeper, and then before you know it, they're converted, right? But without any further ado, man, that's all we have for you guys tonight. You know, and like we said, if you're not gathering, you're scattering. That's if you're not gathering the Lord's flock, you're scattering us. You're not helping, right? I'm your brother Azrael.
Brother Denard.
We're the hopeful elect. Hope you were edified. Another thing about it Thursday, be gentle.